tell you what's not one.
What is not one?
I can't say.
Understand. That's understandable.
Tune in for the original to find out.
I don't even know what that means. You know where there were 99 problems, though?
Where?
A long, long time ago. And again,
You had problems? Like that many problems, though?
I didn't.
Because from the very little information that we've exchanged about this movie we're going to talk about today.
I've kept it under wraps.
Yeah, I
As
mean,
best as I could.
it just didn't sound like there were many problems to you.
Well, I think we'll get into that.
Sure.
I think we'll get into that.
Sure. Not yet, though.
Not yet, though.
Not yet.
We got some...
Little gladiator line there. Not yet.
That's a good reference.
You like it?
I like it.
I love it.
I love Gladiator.
Yes.
It's a great film.
It is, but we can't get sidetracked already.
That's right.
We're a minute in, we're already on Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
That's not the plan today, damn it.
No, not at all. We're talking about something else. We're talking about something a little more significant, a historical moment, I think, for a historical franchise.
Okay, I'm glad you put it that way. Because it's going to feed right into what I got to say.
I want you to bring it. I want you to bring the heat.
I'm bringing it, dude.
Okay. Before we get into that hot
Now,
sauce.
So what was the movie, by the way? The movie is...
What was the movie? You gotta ask what the movie was.
I'm just trying to bring everybody in. Because all we said is the movie.
Star Wars, The Force Awakens, Episode 7.
Cool.
If you didn't get the reference in the beginning, now you know. It's Star Wars.
Yep.
Okay. But let's dig in now. Let's get into before we get into the review of the movie. I did a little rewatching myself of 4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
Talk me through your thoughts on them.
They're okay. I mean, I think I kind of touched on this last week that I'm just not of the generation that was revolutionary, like what those movies did. So I was okay with them. They were good movies. They were entertaining. I'd buy in a little bit. I was definitely, I think I was young Obi-Wan for Halloween once. So I can't say that I've never dressed up. So I think
I need to see that photo.
it's not a good one. I don't like any young photos of myself, but it's not good. But yeah, I wasn't a diehard fan. I didn't dress up yesterday.
I didn't go yesterday, but I was not diehard enough to even go yesterday. I think that shows you where I'm at. I actually fall into the same category as you. I respect what the franchise did. I respect its spot in cinema history, but I wasn't a huge fan of it. Like, I don't know. I thought they were cool. I thought the concept was cool, but like, it was just. I think even by my young eyes, I couldn't get over the special effects. And I know I'll get beat up for saying that.
I think like if we were to compare it to any other movie of that time,
yep.
I mean, I guess like, okay, so you say you weren't blown away, but at the same time, when I was young and saw it, I wasn't like, dude, this looks old. I mean, I think it could have, maybe my first time seeing it was in the 90s. I think it could have passed for a 90s movie based on its special effects. I mean, by my young, naive eyes, I guess. I mean, but I wasn't like, whoa, It's a Wonderful Life. I mean,
no, I get you. I wasn't like, I don't think that was necessarily me. I think I was still in the mindset, because I think the time that I saw them was maybe a couple years before Episode 1 came out. So it was like late into my childhood. So I was already spoiled by whatever came out by then. You know what I mean? And I barely remembered them, which is why I rewatched them recently. And I had a totally different outlook on them than I did the first time, which was cool. So I thought, I was able, now as a more mature movie watcher, I was able to, not just focus on the special effects. I was able to look at the story. I was able to look at the actors, how they did. The story itself, I felt was very, very lame. Lame.
Like boring or lame?
No, I think it was like, maybe like, it seemed very lazily tacked together at points. Like the way things connected.
What kinds of things?
I don't know. It just... Like
because
there were a lot of big jumps from place to place. There wasn't, you know what I mean? Whereas like I think by today's movie standards, people want to see that. Whether it's, you know,
it's about the process. You
yes.
don't want holes in the movie,
right? Well, even like for example, just how every movie starts off with a big explanation of where you are. Like, and I think by movie standards today, you just show
right?
Where like you show that develop either at the end of the first movie or right at the beginning, so that way you visually see it.
Yep.
However, I know that's become like a big iconic part of the movie itself. That long list fading off into infinity. But I don't know. I think there's just moments like that. I've mentioned the acting. It's kind of corny looking back, but I'm sure it was fine within the confines of a 70s sci-fi film. You know? Mm-hmm. And I can't compare because I have not seen enough 70s sci-fi to really compare, but I can let that go. I think it was good. I think it was okay, though. I mean, I'm not impressed by him. I'm not in the...
No, but you're talking about 4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6. Right. I mean, they're levels beyond 1, 2, and 3. I just want to get that out there.
Yep.
And I know we kind of agreed off air. We probably didn't want to bring them up in this discussion.
No.
And I don't think they're really worthy of it.
No, but I will say, like, I think while we do kind of get jumped around and all that kind of stuff, I think the storyline is pretty simple to follow, at least. Whereas in 1, 2, 3, I just hate it. Like, you throw so much more in there. Like, you throw the Senate, the senators, this other, like, the Republic and all that crap. Like, I don't know what's going on.
No, it almost got into, like, the inner workings of stuff that didn't matter. Like,
right.
It felt very convoluted. So 4, 5, and 6, like I said, when I say that the story jumped around a lot, I totally agree with you, though. It was not hard to follow. It was very simplistic. But, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't... Those movies didn't get, like, my imagination working.
Mm-mm.
But that's just me, though. And I know for a lot of people, they'd slap me upside the head and say, "You bite your tongue."
Yeah, it's just one of those things that I don't like. I don't know. It's something like the legend or the reputation and perception of the Star Wars trilogy is something like Michael Jordan. Like, I mean, dude, it has just been passed down and grandfathered in. But I can't place myself back in the 90s when he was the greatest player ever or whatever. So, I mean, you got these people and even people of our generation that would think the same ways just because, though, they were been told to think that way.
And maybe even if they haven't been told to think that way, but if you see it and you're around a bunch of people, because I don't think it's a movie a kid today would pick up and watch. Even maybe go back to 2000. They've heard about it, but I think that's something your parents or like a friend introduces to you that was introduced to it by their parents.
Oh, you're completely pressured into it.
I agree.
You're like, what? You haven't seen Star Wars?
You got the hype of how great this franchise is, coupled with you're sitting right next to your friends who love it, and you're supposed to stand up and go, I don't know, I thought it was okay. No, as a young kid, you want to fit in. Right. It's a popularity contest every single day.
Yeah. So
you're not gonna be the odd man out. You're gonna go, it was good, and then
you're 6 years old. And you don't want to tell your dad this is dumb.
Right. So
he'd cry.
You'd rather be a dancer instead of playing football. And that doesn't play out well either.
No.
No, but I don't know. Then I think what happens from there is, so as 6-year-old you bought in watching that, or young version of you bought into that. That comes up later on. Have you ever seen Star Wars? And you go, yeah, it's great. You become the part of the problem. You start perpetuating the lie.
Yeah.
Now I look back at it and go, that's just silly.
Because there's no one younger than, I don't know. Like, there's no one younger than 30 years old right now that could honestly appreciate what Star Wars did. Really. I mean, you can't be that into movies. You can't know what it did at the time that it's released and came up. That's true. Of why it was so foreign and special. Like, you can't feel that. So, and then maybe you just like the movies that much. Yeah. Maybe. But for me, I think it's more of a holistic thing of why it is what it is.
Maybe. I think 30 is really the cutoff. Like, I think 30 that is honestly the perfect divider, I think, between people who get it. Because if you're 30, you were born in, like, what, 85, roughly? So you're born in 85.
It's not too far out of its
Not
reach.
too far off. I think the final movie came out, like, 81. So that's, by that standard, but that's assuming you see it, if you see it when you're 10, hell, even if you see it when you're 5, it's 10 years old at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Even by then, I don't know if you could even get into it. But I know a couple people fit that demographic. They're 30 years old, swear by it. Swear it's the best movie trilogy out there, the best movie franchise out there. And then we've had discussions between Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and Star Wars, and it inevitably comes back with, in that case, to be Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue that, but I don't think we should get into another trilogy at the moment, or another series.
It's a couple weeks away.
But
what? So of 4, 5, 6, what did you quickly? How do you rank them? How did you like? Which did you like better, and why?
This is, I don't know. I think I would go 6, 4, 5.
Okay.
Where do you fall in that ranking?
See, when it comes to trilogies and series and stuff, I put a lot of weight into the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just think I don't think that you need to overcomplicate a storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's at its simplest form and at its origin, for me, that just connects with me more. So I don't know. I mean, I really like A New Hope. It's really slow.
Yeah.
And nothing really happens, but everything is at its infancy. Like, you see everybody in their raw element.
Yeah. No.
Now, I was talking through with somebody the other day though about all that happens in 5, and my God, like, there's a lot that happens in 5. But we've talked before about the moment of where you can check out of a movie.
Okay.
And for me in 5, now you're bookending this moment with. You have Hoth, which is legendary.
Right.
I mean, you have, the cavern scene where Luke's getting out.
Yeah.
I mean, that. And then followed with the Battle of Hoth.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to see more and more, I think, like your storylines of Vader and your Resistance or your Skywalkers are coming together.
Yep. The convergence.
And at the end, you have the legendary scenes of I'm your father and blah, blah, blah. By the way, if you don't want spoilers, don't listen to this. You can stop right now.
We're going to spoil the new movie.
But these are the old movies. I hope I'm not spoiling for anybody. But, like, you get the...
Dude, if it's been out this long, if you're spoiling it...
We're past the statutes of limitations here.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
You have the I am your father and the realization and the twist and all of that. In between there, you lose me with old, senile Yoda.
Okay.
I'm lost. I hate it. I can't stand it.
You don't like Yoda?
I don't like the environment in which all that transpires.
Okay.
I'm not into the swamp and all that weird stuff. It's kind of weird.
See,
I check out. But if you think about the 3 things I just described to you, how unrelated and random are all 3 of those things? Yeah. And if you know the settings in which they take place, I didn't go into detail about that, but they are as opposite settings as you can get.
Yeah.
And it just jumps around. I kind of, like, I'm in line with 2 of them. And then, by the way, you have Sky City too, which is awesome.
That is really cool.
But I'm in line with 2 out of the 3, but the third just, I mean, thank God it happens in the middle of the movie where I can get picked back up at the end. But for me, that's just something I check out of. But there's a ton for that series. There is so much that happens in the second installment.
Yeah, it almost felt like maybe there's like a pacing issue. And I mean, maybe you got to think too, like, I don't think this, I mean, I don't know. This was the first of its kind, so there really wasn't a way to do it wrong. But maybe more could have developed in the first, then pacing throughout the second could have changed from where you're not going from Hoth to the Dagobah system or whatever. Right. You know what I mean? Like, that could develop at a different pace. Maybe that helps you in that instance, but that wasn't, like I said, that wasn't the case. And I don't think, like, for a sci-fi movie of this level, it had been really pioneered before to a serious extent. But I agree. Second was all over the map. I would be interesting, which is it's impossible for nearly everybody because, as you mentioned, Darth Vader is Luke's father. To be able to have that be a surprise.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, does that remove a part of that? Like the movie is maybe that why I find it just okay because I already know the twist.
Right. I mean,
I like to think that might be part of it.
Yeah.
There's no way you could not know that though. I mean, even if you don't like Star Wars, you know who Darth Vader is.
Right.
You know the line that's commonly misquoted. You know it.
Yeah.
So, if I could, that'd be fun to do. But I don't know if it would change how I feel kind of about the second movie.
And I like Luke's character through like the first two.
Mm-hmm.
But Luke is not, for me, and I don't know if it's just the guy playing him or what, but he is not the dude. Like, he is not a guy that I'm like, yes. Like you say Jedi, that doesn't do it for me. Like, I think it better connects with Samuel L. in the first and 3 movies. Like, honestly. I mean, it's something about Mark that I can't get into. So when you dress him up in all black, and in the 6th one, Return of the Jedi, I'm just like, it's just not, you can't force him being a badass, because he's not.
He's not. But I think that works well, because if you had him being a badass, it would really compete with Han Solo's badassness.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you can have 2 of them on the field at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So I think having Luke, the unassuming farmhand, who gets radicalized by some religion, I think that makes it much more approachable in that you should want to root for him. Maybe you don't resonate with him as like, this guy's cool. You resonate with like, I want to see him fulfill the prophecy or whatever it is.
But what I'm saying is I think in the 6th one, that's how they try to portray him.
I think so too.
But I
think they try to portray him as a little bit more of a, a little more like an aficionado, the Jedi pathway and the Force. Like, he seems very well put together. He's clean cut. He's cold. He's not the naive boy from the first. But I think that's a good example though of a character progression over 3 movies.
Mm-hmm.
Some trilogies, I guess, some planned trilogies don't even make it past the 2nd movie because the first one you don't even care about the character. So I think they did a good job at making you want to care about the guy. It's just, I don't know, that tangled mess in the middle kind of destroys me. But it's weird though. You meant that order I mentioned, and you said how the first movie you always like more no matter what. So what are you all?
I guess 4, 5, 6.
Oh, in that order?
Yeah, I'm saying like those if you break the 2nd movie into 3 parts, the 1st and 3rd part are great, and I think they're the best parts of the entire series.
I agree.
But for me, I guess I kind of get tripped up there in the middle.
So that's weird though how.
But I do love the development and the slowness of the first movie, and normally the first movie of trilogies and that set up series.
Okay, I see what you're. But that's weird though that a 2nd movie could be missing. The 2nd movie was so good that even despite taking a third of it out,
I think so. I'm just I mean, I would. But
there was some kind of campy stuff at the end of 6, like with the fireworks and like the what are they called
the Ewoks, right?
Ewoks, yeah. Sorry, I was drawing a blank there. Yeah, and the like celebration kind of thing, and
right.
I don't know. I could have dealt without that. So maybe you're right in that regard. So maybe now in my mind as I review it, 2 is missing that segment that I agree with. 3 kind of has that weird part at the end, but you get the resolution of the whole thing. Peter throws the dude off the walkway. Sweet.
Yeah, I'm sorry that like I mean this whole time like we've been shown and told that Vader is such a
ruthless.
Yeah, just a strong presence.
Yeah. The Force.
And at the end of the series, you see he's like a decrepit old man.
Yeah.
He did not go out on top. Like
no, he definitely lost. He definitely lost face in that whole thing. I don't know if that's a pun in there, but it's not intended.
I don't know.
But yeah, he definitely he's kind of just like a fat old pale dude.
Yeah.
suit.
Yeah.
He's definitely, when I hear James Earl Jones talk, that's not what he looks like.
Nope.
But
I would rather see James Earl Jones when we take that mask off.
that would have been. Then it would have been a black guy and Luke's white. That would have changed some things around.
Would have been crazy.
That would have been crazy.
The galaxy had never seen those things before.
You are adopted.
Yeah.
I could get with that. I could get with it. But, no, I don't know. That doesn't bother me because I think that, actually, that might be a good segue into the movie itself about how no matter what, the image wasn't there, but I think that no matter how bad you can be as a person, like how consumed by the dark side, he wasn't 100% evil. There was still a little bit of light side in him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Luke was able to pull that out of him before he died. Right. So I think that's a good, you get the father-son bonding, you get the big come full circle of everything. I didn't mind that.
Can I take us away from this heartwarming moment right now to
ruin it?
Just quick, because we're going to get into this movie.
Yeah.
But something that bothers me. Mm-hmm. Movie 1.
Okay. Where do you begin?
No, not 1. I mean, okay, so episode 4.
4. Oh, okay.
Leia kisses Luke.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I know where you're going.
We come around season 6.
Episode
6.
Right.
Hey, guys. We're brother-sister.
She knew it all along.
All along. There's something weird here. Should we feel weird about this? I don't think we just throw it to the side.
I agree. Let's dig into this a bit. Share your thoughts. What do you think? And I'll give you mine.
I'm going to be honest, I don't know what to think.
Okay.
I'm a little perplexed. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So I guess I'm just going to see where you go with this.
Okay. So the kiss happens episode 4, correct?
End of, I think, yeah.
Towards the end. And in the context of that scene, I don't know if she says she knew all along. I don't think she knew at that exact moment. I don't think it wasn't until Luke really started embracing the Force, and she kind of dabbled in the Force too, that she started getting the clue, and obviously just began an overhaul of repressing that moment. But
let's just forget about this.
Let's not even mention it again. Like that, actually, if they would have addressed that at the end, like kiss, that would have been funny. Like, okay,
or just Han comes in like, so you kissed your brother a couple weeks ago.
I don't know if I can get with this. No, but at the time, she kissed Luke, I think, as more of a show to Han, like, oh, I'm not really a new Luke, I'll kiss this guy.
Oh yeah, that's definitely what happened.
Right. So I don't think she knew. I don't think she really knew all along. And I sound like I'm a huge fanboy trying to disprove this, but I think it's incredibly weird that why would you even put that in there in the first place if you knew all along?
Oh yeah.
Did
yeah.
Know all along?
Yes, he did. That's written out.
That's right. I would think that too. So that's why I find it.
Or at least would cut it out of your remastered versions that have come out since.
It was funny because the video, the ones I watched were the remastered ones with some of the weird CGI in it.
Yeah.
So distracting. Because it's like if they would have just left the actual props in, it would have felt like more of an authentic 70s sci-fi film instead of some weird bastard caught between decades that's trying to entertain people. It was not good. It was actually funny because episode 5 had... I watched them online. I know that's janky, but I did it. Episode 5 had CGI Jabba the Hutt, but episode 6 didn't. Mm-hmm. So I was like, so that's what he actually looked like. I was like, I would have much rather have had that instead of what they gave me. But that was the same thing with E.T. Remember they went back and they took all the guns out and they put in walkie-talkies?
No.
Yeah, they digitally remastered E.T. and they felt like in this, political correct times, having guns, police officers with guns shooting at a kid riding with an alien on a bike was a little too aggressive. So if you go back and watch, they're all holding walkie-talkies like guns.
That's so weird.
It's it was the product of a different generation. Just leave it alone. Mm-hmm. I think that I don't know. That's what it is. Don't try to change it. But yeah.
All right. So let's get into this.
All right.
Your general thoughts on
Well,
this
hold on.
movie.
Let me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
One last
Sorry.
warning. We're gonna spoil
Sorry.
this movie.
We're not sorry about that.
We're not. No, I just want. This is your last chance.
Turn back now.
Turn back now. If you have any intent of seeing this movie,
Hit pause.
hit pause, or get back to work. Whatever, whatever suits you at the moment. But okay, let's get into it. Let's dive right in. What do you got?
I'm having you go first.
Me?
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna shock some people here.
Oh God. Yeah, right.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it at all.
I loved it. I thought it was really good. I thought this to me is what I expected to see when I started watching episode 4. I felt that whirlwind of that slow, methodical build-up of introducing the characters, very similar to 4. But it developed way quicker. Like, I felt like I got to get to know a lot more of the characters in the world instead of having to wait until, what will be episode 8, which was cool. So I have in my mind, the stage is set, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I think the world, I loved it. I thought it was really good. What do you got?
I'm going to turn you. And I'm going to turn everyone else out there.
I'm
turning you.
Good luck, man, because the force is strong with this one over here.
Yeah. Okay. So, we want to talk about it as an independent movie. It's a pretty good movie.
Okay.
Great movie. Well done. I like a lot of things about it.
Okay.
I thought that the effects were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Fight scenes are great. It's great. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Characters, I love it. I love how we're incorporating other things.
Like past characters, bringing them in, that kind
No.
of stuff?
I'm talking like more diversity. Let's get a female role up in here.
A black role.
I like the black role.
Yeah.
Let's open this up.
I agree. It should.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think everybody's, you got all good actors, chock full of them.
I agree.
It's great. My issue is this episode is built on a series of not one trilogy, 2 trilogies.
Right. That's why it's 7.
These are different. These 2 installments, the first 2, are different. They are separate storylines,
Okay.
independent of the fact that the 1, 2, 3 series is just not good.
Right.
At least we went out and we tried to develop something else. The beginning that you talk about.
Yeah.
Similar to 4, right?
Yeah, I think so. The 4 you love so much.
Exactly. You know why they had to rush? Not rush. I do like that it's quicker, where you get into things, and you can, I guess, learn characters, just get into the storyline. You had to speed that up a little bit, because you had to incorporate things from 5 and 6 in it too. So much so, that it is so similar that it throws me off. I don't think we got anywhere with this. I don't think that we've started anything new. I guess if your goal was to pay homage to 4, 5, 6,
I think that was just pay homage to 4.
great.
Because it did a good job at that. But it did it in a good way, I think. I think it did. Like, I think it was, maybe this is why I liked it, because it retold 4 in a much better way. Like, this movie to me is better than 4.
But what I'm saying is I don't see this movie as a do-over. I don't think it should have been that.
No, I don't. See, to me, that doesn't bug me. Like, to me, I'm happy that they retold the Death Star story. You know what I mean? Because that's what they did. Because in the first one, like I said, it took so long, and like, I don't know, I didn't get into it. It took so long. By the time they were destroying the Death Star, I was like, okay, finally. Like, how did we even?
Well, you know what? They destroyed a bigger, worser Death Star in
Episode 6,
what I'm saying, though, and now he destroyed another one in Episode 7.
I think the pacing leading up to it was a little better.
Okay.
So I think you had a good balance, and I think it incorporated the past elements from 4, 5, and 6 really well. Like, I thought the way they worked in Han Solo, that could have been really lame. I thought that was a cool way to incorporate that. I thought they had some really cool nods back to some of the older stuff, like with his quotes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was good. I thought that was a cool way to do it, and it was like, it didn't seem forced, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, it felt pretty organic, like the way they encountered things. Like, they're like, oh, let's not take that ship. That ship's garbage. that's a cool throwback to the older movies.
Yeah.
Stuff like that I kind of appreciated.
I feel like that was done so well because they already did it, so they were better at it this time when they repeated doing it again.
But see, to me, like I said, I don't hold these movies as holy, so I don't care. Maybe that's a big part.
I don't hold it holy. I feel like that it was good, and it was probably it's a good Star Wars movie. But I feel like there is a missed opportunity here. And I don't know what fan fiction crap is out there of like other storylines going off of it.
Millions.
But I just feel like you had a chance to start a new chapter here.
I think
and I don't think you really did.
Here, maybe this was something. This is purely speculative. I think 8, 9, or until whenever this goes on, I hope it's just a trilogy and not like a 4-parter where the third movie's broken up into 2. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that was the appeal. They knew there was a big gap. They knew everybody, all fans, hated pretty much, or maybe not hated, but did not dig 1 through 3. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Traditional fans, even new fans, didn't really get into it, right?
Right.
So what a better way to connect the old and the young with a very familiar movie.
That's my problem. I think you played it safe. I think you don't reconnect. Like, you don't bring in the old crowd because they've seen it before and it pays respect to the old one, and bring in the new crowd because they get to experience the old thing for the first time. Like, you start a new avenue that everyone can experience new together, rather than just playing on the past. That it didn't bug me as I'm watching it. But like, you get these little things, like even at the end, spoiler, when you get Han and his son.
Yeah.
That's Sky City. They're on the overpass. It's Sky City, right where Luke and Vader meet.
I agree.
It drives me nuts. And like, you just see it coming.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. Like, I knew that was going to happen as I'm watching. Ren and Solo talking to each other, father and son. I know. I'm like, he's handing over the lightsaber. I'm like, I know some shit's going to go down.
I just saw, but this is how bad it was for me. Okay, I saw them walk into that place, and I was like, I know what's happening. I know what's about to happen. I see, I'm like, oh, there's the bridge. Well, there's something. There's dangling. Like, somebody's gonna fall. Like,
I agree, but like you said though, at the time, it didn't bother me that I had already been here before. Like, in this case, it was a good version of deja vu. I didn't mind it.
I guess let me ask you this, because does this movie have the impact that A New Hope had, or is it just a good one to throw on the shelf?
How do you mean?
Okay, so A New Hope was the beginning of Star Wars, the beginning of this phenomenon that it was.
You mean like culturally, or what?
Yes.
Okay.
Did it have the impact? Does this one have the impact that A New Hope did?
I don't think it can, simply because, with just the amount of sci-fi action movies out there, there's really, Star Wars felt like it was that first episode was the first of its kind.
Right.
Episode 4 was the first of its kind.
Mm-hmm.
And you could even if they went in a new direction, something that wasn't very similar, I don't think it would have the same impact culturally, just because it's been, that kind of movie has been made multiple times.
So I don't know that it would have had the equivalent impact, but I feel like it could have been closer to it. I mean, I think, I don't see this movie re-sparking what Star Wars was. I don't see this movie being passed down through the decades.
But do you see that with any movie of our generation? Of current movies? Because I don't either. I think, because especially too with the way studios pump out films, it's very easy to lose a good film in the way, you don't, even DVD collections are a thing of the past. Having like you said, put up on the shelf, mm-hmm. is a thing that's gone. So there is no, it's very easy to see a movie and forget about it and come back to it and still think it's good, but to like care so much about it that you want to actually own it, like a physical copy, I think is rare by today's standards.
I just think it kind of blends in. I mean, obviously the first three didn't do that. You know, didn't have a thing. I feel like you could. I mean, yeah, it's hard. It would have been hard, but I think you had. I mean, I think the buildup was there. I think the timing was good. I think the timing was good to come up with this next chapter. But I think, like, yeah, it would have been a tall task. It would have been hard to do to impact that way. But I think the scene was set, and they could have. And I think they fell a little short of that. Independent, I think it's a good movie.
Okay.
I think they just missed an opportunity to have
now, do you think that having
something more historic?
A Star Wars fan, both direct and write and produce it, do you think that hindered it? J.J. Abrams. He's mentioned that he's a huge Star Wars fan. So now you got a Star Wars fan directing it. Do you think maybe that was part of the problem? Why maybe he didn't want to go like just light years beyond what the first one did, and maybe that's why he played it a little safe. Maybe this is just a warm up, and maybe I think this, I kind of look at it as it was very familiar. I agree with you 100% on that. That doesn't turn me to the dark side just yet, but I think episode 2, and I'm like I said, episode 2. If we get I keep saying episode 2, episode 8. Yeah. If that follows the same plot to episode 5, I might start.
I don't think it can. Honestly, I don't think it can, because you put everything in this one. I mean, you
can't rebuild what that thing was. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, so, dude! If that happens,
I'm interested to see though, like, you know, the big dude that's talking. I forget what he is. You know what I'm talking about? The really old, like, yeah, like that was interesting. How, you know, he was like this voice of supreme badness, and the general was all with it, but Kylo Ren like wasn't really completely with it. You know what I mean? So there was some cool, like, now you got an inner struggle going on that you never had with Darth Vader. You know, which was interesting too, because at the beginning of, all right, so let's go 4, 5 until the end of 6. Really, you had no internal struggle with Darth Vader. Mm-mm. You knew he was just a stone cold MFer, right?
Okay.
But this, now you got an internal struggle. Like, you know he's struggling to become a good guy.
With Ren.
Which I think is kind of interesting. I think that...
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't get that? Like that part?
No. I got it, but then I thought it was just all kind of flipped again.
He's clearly... Like,
he's deceiving his son.
Clearly teeter-tottering.
Or his father, I'm sorry.
Yeah, between both. And I think that moment with Han Solo was legit up until... that dude, the dark side, like, overpowered him again, kills him, boom, done. So I think, that moment where they show the tears in his eyes, I think that's legit. But then, like I said, it's a big internal struggle, and for someone who is, at least according to me, the more, like, from what I saw of this, he was painted to be the new villain, right? Like, that was going to overarch 3 franchises, unlike what they did in episodes 1, 2, and 3, where they had almost like a different villain.
Yeah.
You know, each movie. So I'm interested in that. But they also now, so you know he's teeter-tottering, they got to bring in someone who's harder. Like, they got to bring in someone who's just ruthless.
Yeah, they started real well with it. I mean, I liked the persona that he was giving off.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't change it, because I think you need that. I think you need to show that he is very green in being who he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that he is struggling with it, and that he, you know, may at one point get there.
So let's get into a little speculation here. The girl.
Yep.
How is that Kylo Ren's cousin?
I hope so.
It's got like Luke's daughter.
I think so. But coming out of the theater, that was my thought, that was my hope, and I felt like I was like rebelling against it, because I think the whole movie we're told that it's his sister. You get that vibe at all? Because, I mean, for me, I felt like it was in my face that was his sister.
Really? I see what you're saying. Like
It was a twin of Han's and Leia's, and instead, like I walked out and I'm like, man, that could be Luke's daughter.
I think,
but like I was like that minority 10% of me thinking that wanted to think it, but really the rest of me thought that it was his sister.
But it's not his sister, obviously.
Why?
Well, because don't you think like Han and Leia would have said something like, "Oh yeah, we had twins." Why wouldn't Leia have mentioned that at all? Like throughout that whole
but throughout the entire movie,
I could see Han not mentioning it, but then that moment at the end, like maybe it is.
Okay, so you have,
I guess maybe
Han's time spent with her. They're exactly the same.
Father-daughter relationship.
Yes.
Yeah,
they're exactly the same.
She's almost actually replacing him.
Exactly. Chewie sees her the same way.
Okay.
And then there's the long embrace with her once Leia sees her.
Some good points.
So I think that's, for me, like when I saw it, I'm like, oh man. And then throughout, like, I mean, well, also when you see Ren, once he hears that they're chasing a girl, he's like, what? Like, what? Yeah. What's up? Because he immediately becomes interested.
I just feel like he would have dropped that bombshell on him when he was like forced, like trying to get into her mind, and read the map or whatever. But she was like, "Wait a minute, I got the Force too."
I just think that like
that came up then.
Their comparison is so similar that I think my mind, as a viewer, went to sibling.
It could be,
but I am hoping that it's Luke's daughter.
I would like it. Well, that's what kept me thinking it was Luke's daughter, was just the command of the lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was able to just like wield that thing.
Yeah, and at the same time, like, I mean, Ren's able to as Leia's son. You know what I mean? So I mean, I don't know. I thought like it was, obviously both have the Force in them.
Yeah.
But
now, does Finn have any of this Force? Do you see him developing a little bit of a? Because clearly he's not related to either of them.
No.
But that doesn't mean he can't get a little Force going on.
I mean, I think you see him as
he's like a new Han.
He's a new Solo.
Yeah, I get that. But what do you project going on with him? Where do you see kind of him going?
Honestly, the same.
That's an open-ended question.
Just the same way that Han's character plays out. I mean, yeah, but I think there's a love interest there too. So I mean, like you play in like you have the Han Leia thing, but now you can have it with Rey and Finn.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't see him as more of a Jedi type. I don't see that. He did hold his own somehow, but I mean, I just don't.
That's what was making me kind of.
I don't see it, but I really like Rey. Rey is awesome.
Oh, I agree.
Like her a lot.
This is like, now see, this is like a female protagonist I could get with. Like
it's fine. I mean, I think it was long overdue.
No, I agree, but I'm talking like even like Jennifer Lawrence Hunger Games. Like, dude, I'm with Rey, hands down.
Yeah, she's
like
awesome.
There's something like it was. She was approachable, but she had like a good personality. Like you could tell that there was like some angsty force going on within, and you had a good feeling about her, and then boom, she's a game changer in the long run. And I think she's gonna pan out.
Now, she's wielding, the two-handed, whatever that is, that weapon, like the it's a staff. Yeah, kind of like a staff.
I know what you're talking about.
Do we see the double-bladed saber?
I'd like to, but I think that one needs to respectively stay with Darth Maul, who I think unanimously, I think we can all agree is a sweet villain who got jaded by that first movie like hard.
Coming back.
Yeah. Slowly sweeping over me right now. I liked it though. No, because like I said, I had that. I almost like when I was in there, and I tried my best not to see any trailers leading up to it. I didn't want to know anything about this movie until I really got in there. And I felt like it kind of recaptured that same feeling I had when I first saw Fellowship of the Ring for the first time. That imagination, like, wow, this is really cool. Where can I go with this? Where is it going? And I think it did that. I know you are right. I will say that it is very identical to 4 and almost parts of 5. But I didn't mind that. like, see, to me, they've already encapsulated 4 and 5 almost in the same movie. I kind of think, or they're we'll pick up with in 8. You know, she's with Luke immediately. You know what I mean? Which is cool. I want to know his story. Like, why did he have to run away and hide?
Mm-hmm.
But that I get it though. That's the Yoda Vader thing going on there too. You know? It's that same story.
It was something about it. I don't know why. And see, I did not rewatch these going in.
Mm-hmm. I had to because I hadn't seen them in forever.
Neither have I. Honestly, like, I have not watched them. I have never watched them on DVD. That's how long it's been for me.
Neither have I, technically.
Well, I mean, but like the last time I watched them was on VHS. Okay, so it's been a while, and I just didn't feel the need to. And it's weird for me because so I think this movie is awesome. If those movies that came out in late 70s and 6 that came out in like 80, 81.
Mm-hmm.
Those are put in a time capsule, and you have not seen them again until right now. This movie's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But for me, like, this was not locked away. It was easily accessible. It's still fresh in my mind. Like, it's not for them to go back as much as they did. It wasn't really refreshing to me.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm not a diehard fan. So
neither am I.
I mean, maybe it was great for a diehard fan.
Actually,
but for me,
that'd be interesting to see, like, how it's received by critics. I think critics and outsiders are going to like it. I think.
Mm.
I think it's going to be unanimously. It's a really good film, and it is. It's a good movie. But it'd be interesting to see, like, what diehard Star Wars fans really think about it.
Because that's, for me, like, and I'm not that way, but we know everything there is to know about 4, 5, and 6.
It's true.
And I want, maybe I want something new to know. Like,
yeah.
So I think that's kind of what,
we'll get
that's kind of where but I'm impatient, dude. I'm impatient. I want it now.
That's fine. I do too. I know, like, so it's probably not going to come out till, like, what, 2018?
But at least you didn't screw it up.
No.
You went with what was familiar.
Well, you know what, too? And, like,
you got an entertaining, watchable movie.
You do. And, he did play it safe. But I think that might be part J.J. Abrams not wanting to trample on step on any toes. Mm-hmm. That also may be Disney, like, hey, let's wade into this because they've got so much, like I said, they got spin-offs for, they got a Boba Fett movie, a one-off of that. They got an origin story of Boba Fett, origin story of Han Solo coming up. And so they got a lot, like, they're going to milk this like they do with Marvel. Mm-hmm. So they got to, I think they wanted to ease their feet into this, and I think it's a good job. And I think it'll change. And now, like I said, if Episode 8 is just right along the line of, 4 and 5, I might be getting a little squirrely.
So, when I think, like, the perfect mix of this for me was Abrams' remakes of Star Trek. Not remakes, but his new Star Treks or whatever. Yeah. Because for me, I was not as heavily invested into Star Trek. I had seen a couple of them when I was very young. I remember nothing about them. I only remember the most fundamental details, so that when they would bring that up in one of these new movies, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool. That's relatable. Not like, dude, I've seen that. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, that was kind of a perfect mix for me, where I really liked the Star Treks, but it's just not because I wasn't as familiar with them.
I didn't know a ton about them. I'm with you on that as well. I had seen an episode or two. I knew Captain Picard. I knew William Shatner. Mm-hmm. I knew the guys. I knew the characters well enough, I think, to, like, spot them out of a lineup. Mm-hmm. But he took that universe and did something special with it. It made it really cool. Made it really approachable to, like, people who thought Star Trek was nerdy. Like, you could go see that even if you thought, like I said, Star Trek was, like, a total nerd thing. You can go see that and go, that was really cool. There was some cool stuff in there. Mm-hmm. I think that's just J.J. Abrams, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think that's kudos to him for being a kick-ass director.
Yeah, and I liked like I said, I liked this movie. It was good.
Yeah. Now, did you see, since Star Trek came up, did you see the trailer for the new one?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
What, like the 5-second trailer?
No, there was one before Star Wars.
Oh, so yes, we had one before Star Wars, but it was no joke. It was 5 seconds long.
Really?
It showed like
Oh,
maybe I saw the end of it.
Oh,
like maybe there was a hiccup in the back room or something, but I didn't see much of it.
Oh,
I'm not excited that it's directed by somebody else, but
here's the thing. So J.J. Abrams is still producing it. He's not directing it though. But here's where I think you go wrong. Like if you want to salvage this franchise, when J.J. Abrams leaves, I think you got to get a guy who can even like fit in the shadow of J.J. Abrams. You know what I mean? They end up getting the guy who directed Fast and Furious 7. So that immediately right there, I'm just like, this is going to lose all connection to the first two. It's going to be nowhere as good. And you could tell even by the trailer I saw, just by like the just the way the characters were talking and acting, you could tell this is going to be a different movie. It's going to be more of an action movie. It's going to be closer maybe in stylings to like Pitch Black.
Oh wow.
I like that movie, but I think like you're not going into that to see a complex story. You're going into it to see some badass fight scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm disappointed in that, but I kind of called it. So I'm not.
Yeah, I mean you know what happens when you get like really good directors to put their name on it as a producer.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what happens. Man of Steel happens because Nolan he produced that.
Yeah.
And then for me, I love that movie. I know you hate it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I like. It was ever since then, because I do think it has touches of Nolan in it. Yeah. It's not a Nolan directed movie, but it has touches for me that I can see. But I knew that you would really like that reference when it comes to but J.J. Abrams is producing it. So.
Yeah. No, like, but that doesn't affect me because I've seen when that happens before, especially with Disney, and I just relate it immediately to the Iron Man franchise,
right?
Which is just 1 was great, 2 was okay, and I'm ready for 3. I'm ready for this. You lose Jon Favreau, you bring in a new director. I had to almost walked out of that movie. There was like 3 or 4 scenes in there. Remember when we talked about those scenes where you just check out? There were almost 3 or 4. Like
I checked out multiple times.
I paid for 2 tickets, almost came out to $20, and I was willing to just leave early because it made me so mad. And
yeah, it's not good.
What's even worse is when you look at the ratings for it, and it's like in the 90s, and you're like, how the hell did it get into the 90s?
You know how? Gwyneth Paltrow's abs.
She's a stunning woman. She is. You can't. But that's not enough. I'm sorry. That cannot carry.
It kept me there. But speaking of Favreau, did you see the Jungle Book trailer?
Yeah, I did.
I'm interested.
You know what?
I think it could be well done.
When I was a kid, the Jungle Book was my favorite movie. So, in my mind, like that cartoon's got it's renting an apartment in my heart right now. In an emotional sense. So, but I think if anyone's going to do it, I like the direction. I think it could be entertaining as long as they don't try to make it too gritty, or something like. Because I feel some directors can get away with it.
I mean, Favreau's won me. I'm in. I'm already in.
I will see it. I will definitely see it. I'm excited to see it. But that's one of those things where it's like it's going to have to trump some emotional.
Right. Or maybe it can supplement it. Maybe it gets added to that emotional attachment.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just add it to my snowball of life.
Maybe.
Okay.
It'll probably have some small part of my snowball, but
well, good. It should.
Somewhere in there.
It's a great story. Well, what do you think? You got anything else to tack on to our spoiler filled episode of Star Wars: The Force Awakens?
I will end my negativity with saying I do think it was good. I'm gonna watch it.
What do you give it on like a 1 out of 10 scale?
As far as a movie now, it's really hard for me because like when we talk about these scales and that kind of thing, I think as normal of a setting as possible, that I can compare. Like when you get into these kind of special niche movies, I can't really compare it. If I'm going to rate it, I guess on my entertainment value.
So here it is. I'll set the boundaries for you.
Because this isn't going to work for everybody. You know what I mean?
It won't work. So just review it as like, assuming you were not privy to 4, 5, and 6. You were aware of 1, 2, and 3. you know they're out there, but you didn't really care to see those. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna go see 8 just as a one-off flick. You were familiar with some characters at most, but that was it. That was your limit.
It was good. It was
that
good.
Was good.
Yes. Rating. Yeah, I'd put it. It's hard to take myself out of that. I put it up into an 8.
About an 8?
I put it up in there.
I think that's a fair rating.
80th percentile.
I agree. I would probably, I'd be somewhere between, maybe like high 8, like if we're getting to some point value. But
now here's the thing. Like, I feel like, if you're going to go back and kind of put me in that same scenario with the Iron Man series, there's a ceiling that Iron Man can get to. And Iron Man can't really be up into a 90 for me. No, it just can't.
No, I agree.
So I feel like the things that this goes along, like the people that this series has an impact on, the amount of time that this thing has stretched out,
the amount of money it's made.
This has a high ceiling, and it could have been better.
I agree.
I think,
but see,
it's a conceptual thing. I don't think. I think the script as it's written, great. It was awesome. My problem is somewhere in the direction that it is going in this series.
I think they'll fix that for you. I didn't have a problem with that, but I think they'll.
Well, I'm difficult to please. Apparently,
I get that.
Apparently,
I get that.
I need a movie. I need one bad that I can just knocks my socks off.
Just rewatch Inception.
I can't. It's too familiar again.
It is too familiar. See, but I think that's just.
I see it in my dreams.
Oh my god, how many layers deep are you?
So, I don't know. Could The Revenant be that for me?
Ooh, I think it should, because I don't think you've seen a ton of those kind of movies. That's a period piece.
What do you mean a ton of those movies?
I've seen a ton of them.
Like, what would fall into a type of movie like The Revenant, please?
How many movies can you tell me you've seen involving Wild West, 1800s frontiers, fur traders, and trappers?
I guess with that, I would say
movies involving bears.
How many have you seen? Like, are there movies in that realm out there?
Yeah, they're out there. Have I seen them?
Like
no.
what?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this could have potential because you see a movie like.
I feel, but I've seen like Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Right. So I think that's an Old West movie. So if I've seen, or True Grit, I think is probably one that I've seen.
Comparable to this one though?
No. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Time frame wise.
Yeah.
So I think that
I've seen True Grit.
I thought True Grit was good.
Okay.
But I think, but you don't see a ton of these movies made anymore. Hateful Eight will be another one, but I obviously haven't seen that yet. Mm-hmm. So I think it could be.
I can't put any of Tarantino's movies into a category. I just put them in Tarantino. Like to say it like in a it's similar. I can't. I just I gotta it's just Tarantino, man. That's just what happens in his mind.
Classic T.
But I'm really excited for it because this. I don't think it's new, but like this point of view cinematography, like in the heat of things that are happening. I mean, you're taking, I don't know if it's single shot or not yet. I doubt it.
No way.
No way.
I say no way.
I don't know.
Tarantino's not a single shot guy.
What?
He's not a single shot guy.
Who?
Tarantino?
No. I'm saying The Revenant.
Oh.
The Revenant. I'm back on The Revenant.
Good.
That's what I'm saying. These point of view pieces that from the director of Birdman. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, do this in a period where you're shooting, you're
a landscape, not even confined to a building.
That
would be incredible.
How the hell do you do that with a bear? How do you do that with? Then you got bows and arrows and muskets and rifles and all this crap. I'm excited.
And you weren't.
I wasn't.
At the beginning, but
you know what got me excited? Seeing Star Wars.
I'm happy you joined the dark side.
Yeah. This is gonna be a weird movie, but that'll be our next episode. Actually,
Revenant.
Going over Revenant. Check out a trailer. Because I can't describe it to you.
How many weeks away is that, though?
Can't describe it. I think it comes out over Christmas.
No, remember we looked it up, wasn't it?
No, I think it's out over Christmas. I don't think that's right. I think it may be like full release January 8th.
So what do you think we're going to the premiere?
I think I'm going to Select somewhere.
Oh, I mean, I don't think it'll be out over Christmas.
That sucks, man.
Yeah, so we may be on a bit of a hiatus.
No, we'll figure something out.
All right.
We'll push an episode up. So it's either The Revenant.
Whether we have something to talk about or not.
It's either The Revenant or
Krampus.
No.
See Krampus.
We got to move our trilogy one up then.
Okay, that's cool.
Or we bring in a special guest, possibly.
See what we can do. I know some people who are eager to get on.
There's a line. There's a line.
I know.
But we'll get everybody in here.
I think we will. I'm excited for it.
Absolutely.
It'll be good. All right. Well, I think that concludes. That was a good episode.
See the movie. I'm not a negative Nancy. See it.
It's a great flick. If this hasn't just ruined it for you, Godspeed and get out there and go see it.
Forgot that we told you everything that happened.
It's probably a bad time to say go see it. We've ruined a lot of big things.
But if I've talked you into thinking that it's bad, it's not. It's a good movie.
It's good. Even if you've seen it.
Which I probably don't. People don't listen to me.
People don't listen to us.
No. True.
We're getting there, though.
I listen to us.
I listen to us. That's all that matters.
That's all we need.
All right.
Mom, Dad, thanks for listening. Love you.
May the force be with you.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Also with you. All right.
See ya.
Peace.